Okay, so here we are on this lovely, almost mid-August day. I am just counting down the days until summer is over. I'm just so not a summer person. Anyway, I know I've said it in a bunch of videos, maybe you're tired of hearing it, but I was just outside working, and it's ugly, man. It's ugly. So anyway, I want to do this video about some pastes and my pastes that I make. I have a few new ones now, and I have the three that I was making before still. And I did do a video on paste a while back. I think it's time to do another one, maybe cover some things I didn't cover before, and then, you know, of course I want to like show you the new ones. And you know, I know I sell this stuff, so it might seem to be like, you know, self-promotion, but this really is educational. This is about using abrasive compounds to create a sharp edge. And you know, it's something that's been going on for a long time. People have been using you know, this green stuff for like forever and a day. I'll start off with my pasting by talking a little bit about the webbing that I use for when I, you know, if I'm going to use a pasted edge, if I'm going to test a paste, if I want to like work with it, this is the stuff I use. This is like everything in my life. It isn't simple. It's a mil-spec webbing. It's extra heavyweight. It's made in the United States. It's hard to get. I can only get it like a couple of times a year. I buy it in a big wheel. This is the end of a wheel. I just bought a new one. So I'll have that for a while. I have to call the company. I have to ask them. They got to do a run. They got to see where it fits in. And when they have another customer who's buying like a mile of it, then I can get in my little roll order, and then that's cool. But thankfully, I don't sell a lot of this stuff, and what I get usually lasts me. And like this is actually a lot. It looks like nothing, but I could make a lot of strop. Well, maybe not a lot, but a bunch of strops from it. When I test me here, and I do a lot of testing. Testing is life. Just had that discussion with Nelson, actually. Here, this is what I use. Little pieces like this, right? This is the piece I'm actually using of this stuff. And I am inclined often to just throw the webbing on top of a piece of wood. This one's not really all that wide, but I have pieces that are actually, there's like 2 inches, that are 2 inches wide. And you can nail it down here. You know, this is if you go out and you get your own paste. I sell strops made out of this stuff, so it's easy. They're not too expensive. They are, to me, they're disposable. But for my needs, when I'm testing, I blow through this stuff like crazy. I might just put a nail down here because I'm going this direction, and the board keeps it flat, and I'm Gucci. You'll find people on the internet will sometimes be fond of saying that using a hanging cloth strap. This is another one I have that's hanging next to my bench. I actually use this for knives only. This has my white lightning paste on it. I have a couple of work knives that occasionally I have to tune up. And people will be fond of telling you that straps like this will concave your bevel and cause you bevel setting problems and all this magical bullshit they came up with. Yeah, you can put a slight curve on it. The curve you put on by using these things comes out when you do a bevel set like it's nothing. It's no work. It's not like you're turning the bevel into a katana blade with a curve like this. It's not happening, okay? Actually, that little bit of curve is actually really helpful. It will actually give you a little bit more comfort, but that's sort of subjective. But anyway, if you keep these things tight, see, there's no curve, right there, you know, and if you put this down on a piece of whatever, then there's no curve. So, you know, those guys that say stuff like that, I want to tell them to shut up most of the time, and I do, like, you know, post my 2 cents worth, but you know, they must be retired, and all they do is post on forums, and they have this like Pied Piper complex where they have to have the majority of people doing things their way or they go batshit, you know, whatever. What I tell you, okay, try everything, see what works for you. Don't listen to people. Don't even listen to me, okay? Well, you can listen to me, but because I'm telling you to try your own stuff. I'm not telling you that this is the only way, or this is the best way, or the other way is bad. I'm not saying that. All I am saying is this is how I do it. It works for me. It'll probably work for you. And if you want to do it another way, by all means. All right? Stick with people who approach this stuff like that. The all-knowing poobahs, yeah, they're a bunch of misinformation galleries. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to put the 3 new pastes that I have up here. Yeah, that's not new. This is new. Yeah, a long time ago, people got into this whole, why is Keith promoting paste? He's into stones. Yeah, I'm into stones. Here's a stone, okay? I got a stone right here, okay? That's what I hone on most of the time. Why do I mess with pastes? Because, pastes might cause, what was that term that asshat said? A shaving disaster. Never mind the fact that people have been using Chromox and Pheox and whatever other ox since the beginning of time. Shaving disaster. No, the reason I got into this stuff is because I want to make a barber hone. Okay, so I got into abrasives because you have to put an abrasive in a binder to make a hone. So I started trying different stuffs. Okay, I settled on something and I got a working hone and I could refine that system, but I really don't want to do it here at home because it's not very homeowner friendly. But I could make 3 or 4 of them, no problem. The thing is I realized I was putting a lot of effort into making something that was equal. It would be unique because there are no other little hones like that around, and it would work and people would be like, great, but that's not really what I wanted to do. In my heart, I guess what I didn't recognize was that I wanted to make something that was better. All right. So that means learning about abrasives. So I got hooked up with an abrasives company, a rather big one, well known. I have an account manager. I buy stuff from them. I test. We talk. He advises. And it's all a lot of fun for me. And in the course of that, I just started mixing this stuff up into a paste with a mineral oil. So the mineral oil works great for everyone. These 2 are basically proprietary. Okay. This is some serious shit, man. Okay, this is this is off the hook. Okay, that's my Tomo-Blue. Okay, particle size on this for all of you that are thinking microns are your answer. They're not. Okay, but particle size on this is 0.15 micron. That's 150 nanometers. It's more than that. It's particle shape. It's how even it is consistent within the mix. The PSD, particle size distribution, is sick. The actual intended purpose for this is, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, so I'm not going to, but it's literally the last thing in the world you'd ever expect to see in a sharpening paste. Anyway, it was developed for basically the government, and I just happened to pick up on it, and I was lucky enough to score a little bit of it. All right, this one is my new black paste. This is Black Lightning. It is a counter product, not counter, but it's sister product to the White Lightning. I'll get to that in a minute. Particle size on the Black Lightning is 0.2 micron. This is a very good general purpose type of sharpening paste. This can make things a little tedious for you edgewise. Okay, it can, because it's that good. And there's a little bit of a trick to using it. I'll get to that in a minute, where this is a little easier to use, and even though it's 0.2, this is 0.15. The edge difference here is, this is sick, and this is okay, that's sharp, might be too sharp, let me tone it down. Whereas this is holy crap, this is nuts. Okay, that's if you're just not paying attention out of the gate. And then there's this is chromium oxide. So many people ask me for this stuff, and I tell you the truth, when I started shaving with a straight, my first pasted strop was Chromox. I got some crap from somebody somewhere. It was useless. I could tell looking at the scratch pattern. It was all over the place. I got some better stuff, and then I got a bar of Chromox off of Amazon. That was the biggest mistake in the world. I'm pretty sure it wasn't even chromium oxide. If it was I don't know, filtered through newspaper that somebody poked holes with a toothpick in. That was garbage. So, and that was enlightening to me, because then it was at that point I realized that just because it says Chromox, chromium oxide, not all Chromox is the same. This is very good stuff. Particle size on this is 0.3. PSD is extremely tight. Particle shape, critical. Okay, on this stuff, I don't mind telling you the particulars. It's spherical, which to me is better than a platy type when it comes to Chromox. This is a smoother edge. I will say this is the smoothest Chromox I've ever used. I'm still not a big fan. I made it because I wanted to test it, and people ask me for it all the time. They're like, oh, I want to buy it from you. I don't want to buy it from that asshole. So, okay, so I made some. And I totally appreciate that sentiment, and I know exactly where people are coming from, because there's just so much bullshit out there on the market, and people are just like literally cutting up auto body compound bars and then selling them as being good for razors. Now, maybe somebody did that and it was good. I tell you, I've done that and it was no good. That's what brought me to this place. All right, so anyway, that's my Tomo Chromo, and it's good stuff. Okay, and the bottles are new too. These bigger bottles. These are 1 ounce, 30 mil. The old ones were 15 mil. I'm going to keep them around for a while because people like them for whatever their purposes are, but this is actually a better deal. Like I said, this is a good general purpose. If you're going to have one paste and you're not into too high of a tedious type of thing, and you just don't want to have to think too much when you're there's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to, like, strop and go. Did you ever see the video of that German guy who like shaves in his sink in the kitchen with people at the table behind him? Look at his strop. Watch how he strops. Ba, 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 he's done. And that strop looks like he uses it for his kitchen knives too. That's a good mentality to have. Okay, so a guy like that would probably appreciate a paste like this, because it's just boom out of the bottle and you just do a couple of passes and it is what it is. Very smooth, very nice abrasive to work with. All right, now Tomo Chromo, Tomo-Blue. Again, this is this off-the-chain new stuff I have. Any of the pastes, when you get them, you see how it's separated? Okay. All of these abrasives are super fine. They're in a suspension of oil. That's mineral oil up here, and it's just typical USP stuff. So if you ever like need to add more fluid to it because it seems like it's too thick, you can just put a couple of drops of mineral oil. You got it, Rite Aid or CVS or whatever in there. Anyway, what you want to do when you get these, put your finger over the top. Okay, make sure it's down. Make sure this is down. Don't muscle it. It's plastic. It will break. Put your finger over the top. Why? See this? This is what happens when you use it. You're going to have a little bit up there. If you're just shaking like this, whatever's up here, it can launch. And it's going to go in a place where your significant other will be most unhappy about. So be smart. All right? That's my bottle. This is a fresh one. Took this out to show you the separation. And you just do this. Okay, that's all. See how I'm shaking this? Okay, it's probably giving you vertigo, right? Sorry about that. But anyway, I'll just do a little bit. See how it's starting to mix up? Okay? I'm not going to do this for too much longer. Do that for 60 seconds. Okay, just like that for 60 seconds. Okay, don't think you know what 60 seconds is. Take a clock out and watch it and do this for 60 seconds. At that point, you should be fine. If you got too much sediment down here, you can bang it a little bit. Don't smash it. Don't get cute. If you wanted to, you could unscrew this and then get yourself something like this, like a chopstick, and go in and stir. You're going to wind up with product on this, though, and it'll be hard to get off. Either write it off and throw it away and just deal with the loss, or have a strop ready to apply. Okay? Just a little helpful hint. Keep the waist down. Right, so my black gold, right? Actually, the black gold, white lightning, and red velvet, these were the first. This was from my first entry into making a hone. And actually the abrasive that I was working with to make the hone was the white lightning here. And I know there's a tendency for people to want to know what the compounds are. I don't want to get into it for two reasons. One, it's just too much. And this nudnik, micron, fake, faux scientist, overly knowledgeable, the science of sharp bullshit, forget about it. Just forget about it, okay? Take the paste, put it on a strop, work your blade on it, shave, see what it's like, then you know what you got. The numbers don't mean squat, okay? The actual name of the material, again, You know, let's just say, for example, this is cerium oxide, and it isn't, okay? But if it was, do you know how many sources there are for cerium? How many particle sizes? How many different, you know, there's synthetic, there's natural, there's all types, okay? You can't just say, oh, cerium oxide is like this and blah, blah, blah is like that. I mean, that's what goes on forums, okay? Because somebody read about it on the internet, and now they are the grand wizard behind the curtain. Anyway, white lightning is under zero point 0.4 micron. Sick PSD, just absolutely spot on the money. So good, better than abrasives you can buy over the counter anywhere. This is not over the counter product. None of this stuff is, actually. The red velvet, which was the follow up to that, this is 0.1 micron. Okay, again, crazy particle size, particle size distribution, and then black gold. The particle size on this is stupid. It's like 0.05 microns. That's 50 nanometers, and it's actually a spread. But this stuff was brought into the picture only as a means to back these two up. So what I found was, using this, I made a great edge, but maybe it was had a little too much bite to it, right? So then I got a little bit finer paste, but a little bit softer with a completely different particle shape, because you don't want the particles to dial into the striations. You want a little bit of, like, have you ever heard of fuzzy logic? All right, you want some fuzzy logic. So I used these two in conjunction. I was like, you know, I could use something else. So I got this stuff. It's an abrasive, but if you just use this, you're going nowhere. This is used, black gold. You can tell it's got little gold dots on that thing. This is mine, actually, that I test with. Use this. Okay, I make the edge. I start the edge here. I smooth the edge out there. And then I come to this, and I kind of knock it down a little bit. All right. This is finer than this, yes, but it's going to bring the edge back a little bit, okay, because the tendency of the paste to create this like crazy, crazy sick apex that borders on a wire or a foil, you need to mitigate that. This does that. So, for example, I might go 6 or 8 passes here. I might go 4 or 5 passes here. I go 2 or 3 passes here, and then I probably come back to either this or this, and most of the time it's this, just like 2 or 3 passes, and then I go and I strop and I'm done. Now you're going to say, logically and mathematically, that doesn't make sense. This is why I tell everybody to test. Stop working on numbers. Grit is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the story. You got to test, you got to try, you got to see what you like. And if somebody tells you that doesn't work, but it's working for you, you can tell them to flip off. All right. I use this stuff successfully. I love the type of edge that I get from this so far as paste edges go. But I have to admit, it's really complex. And that's what pushed me to continue to look for other pastes. You know, this stuff is the best paste I've ever used. It has the most the edges off of this are the most organic of anything I've tried. Okay, I'm not going to say it's as good as a stone edge. I prefer coming off of a JNAT and stropping and going. I would, if I got stuck, like if I was like on a desert island with my favorite razor and all I had was this, and my edge started to tug, I would have no reservations about using this. If I was getting ready to go out for a date here in Brooklyn and my edge was like a little wonky, and I really, for whatever reason, I had to shave with that razor, never mind the fact that there's like a pile of them around here that are ready to go, but I had to shave with that one, and we all know what that's like. Okay, you know what it's like when you just pull a razor out and you're like, that's it, that's tonight's shave, but it's not flying. I had no qualms about using this. None. I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to hone it tomorrow on a stone, but the edge I get off of this, I'm going to be good to go. The other ones, the other pastes, yeah, you know, almost. Not like this. It's expensive, though. It's really expensive. I didn't get a lot. I'm going to make, I made up like, I don't know, like 12 bottles of it. This is not earth-shattering. It's paste after all, and My thing is like I'm really OCD on it. I'm really sensitized to the different nuances and particle shapes and particle size density and everything else. I'm super sensitive to it. You know, there are guys that are not, and they don't need to pay this level of attention to these things. God bless them. All right. So people ask me all the time. They say, you know, how do you apply? And this is how I apply all of the pastes. Okay. All right. Trying to not make a mess on camera because then that would look foolish. All right. So, you know, I get some product on here. Right. And I put that there. And then I take one of these medical instruments. This is a sterilized, no, it's a freaking chopstick. Okay, and I snap it in half, right? I like to have fun. And I just smooth it out. Okay? Now, I pay very close attention to the close edge. And inasmuch as I am concerned with the entire thing here, I am mostly concerned with the edge that's closest to me. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll show you why in a second. Oh, mess. And that's the thing about this stuff. You got to pay attention, because if you don't, it goes and you wind up with goo in places you don't want it. Okay. This is a sacrificial one anyway. Now, this stuff is very fine and it's pretty active. And this may look to most people as though it's too much product on the cloth. And in a way, they would almost be right if they said that, because you really don't need that much there. But with this paste, it doesn't matter. If you do this with Chromox, yowza. Chromox, you just want a real, you want it coverage, but you don't want a blanket like this. Maybe I'll show you. That would be a good idea since I'm doing a video, eh? Anyway, so the reason for this, okay, now I got it backed up. There's a rubber block under here, by the way. I put this on here and I'm not using like a lot of pressure, and I'm just coming like this. So you see the blade is basically traveling through this spot. What I want is evenness here. If it's a little uneven out there, it's okay, because the blade is going to enter this zone, okay? You know, and I'm done, you know? Now, you need to do this. You need to clean the blade. You're going to go from this pasted strop, okay? You're going to go from that, okay? There's still some blue in there, okay? So you have to be careful, and you have to be thorough. You're going to go from this pasted strop, you're going to go to your fire hose, or you're going to go to your whatever, linen, maybe. That's what I do, okay? Yeah, you know, somebody just asked me, he said, do you use the fire hose all the time? Because I heard that it damages JNAT edges. It's only good for cuticule edges. And yes, every time I shave, I use my fire hose. I always hone on JNATs. The fire hose does not damage JNAT edges. I think if that's happening, then the person doing that doesn't know what they're doing. I'm wetting the blade down and wiping repeatedly. Why? Why? Do you know why? Because you're going to go to a strop that doesn't have paste on it. You don't want to use the stuff all the time. You don't want it compromising your other strops, okay? You need to keep this separate. I don't even like to keep them like within like 5 feet of one another. Anyway, so I got a new piece out, okay? It's flat. It's not concaving anybody's bevels. All right, so, all right. Okay, so there's that, and then this is kind of how I use Chromox. Well, it's not kind of how I use it. I mean, I don't really use it. Like I said before, I have it here for testing reasons and because people ask me for it. But yeah, this is really enough. Okay, with Chromox, this stuff is super fast cutter, and if you put too much down, you run a liability of really making a jacked up edge. So this is how I use Chromox. All right. After, if I don't know where it is. I have one around somewhere. If you use this for like a couple of years, because you constantly want to refresh, not every time, maybe every fifth time. So every few months, you want to come back and you want to put some more on there. After a while, you'll get like more of a solid covering on it. But mostly, what you're looking at is the bed that worked down into the fabric. What's on top is just the little smattering that you add every time. You don't ever want to add more than this to it, but after it gets old, it's going to look continuous. What you really don't want to do, and you can test this for yourself, okay? What you don't want to do is make a blanket of Crocs like I did with the blue stuff, all right? And you can experiment with the blue stuff and go lighter on that also, all right? But like I said, here's mine, and this is working fabulously, right? And that's after testing. So test, all right? I'm just giving suggestions here. All right. Anyway, so that's it. These are the pastes. You saw them all now. I went through all of them. I don't think I left too much information out, but I'm sure I missed something. So please, if I did miss something, put it in the comments. I'll try and answer. Sorry I'm not showing you like sharpness tests of this, because I think a lot of that is a waste of time. Trust me, this edge is killer right now. And all I have to do is like give it a quick 1, 2, 3 on some linen. With a pasted edge, I do extra stropping on leather. Maybe I'll go, I don't know, I don't count. So maybe 7,500 laps, I don't know. I kind of feel it like softens it a little bit. But that's just for me. Everybody's blade is different, everybody's substrate is different, everybody's strop is different, everybody's edge is different, everybody's amount of paste on the strop is different, everybody's pressure is different, everybody's face is different, everybody's whiskers are different, okay? So there is absolutely no final recipe. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. As long as it works for whoever's talking about it, that's great. You got to find your safe spot, your happy spot, because all of this is just about shaving and having fun. People who make more out of it than that, you know, stay away from those people, man. They're not worth it. Anyway, so get out there, have fun, get some honing time in. You know, get your J-Nats out, get your yeah, it's a J-Nat in the foreground. Get your Azukos out, get your Nakiyamas out, get out there and hone. And if you want to have some fun, get some paste, pick them up, mess around with that stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. Have fun. Take care. I'm going to do another video today, so you're probably going to hear back from me pretty soon. All right? Take it easy. Until next time, be well.